Hello everyone. I chose to do my project on Beethoven's Piano Sonata number 14. Many of you know this piece as Moonlight Sonata, as it's one of Beethoven's very famous piano sonatas. I believe that there's some very interesting details that Beethoven uses, and I chose this piece because I've always really enjoyed listening to it and thought it would be a very interesting piece to do a Roman numeral analysis on. I believe that this Roman numeral analysis will really help a performer in stylistic matters of the piece and also understanding its form. Some of these items may include the triplet ostinato pattern that's played throughout the piece, and the performer could interpret these in many different ways. There are also some tempo and dynamic things that can also be done, but just for the aspect of staying focused within this piece, I'll just talk about the harmonics in the Roman numeral analysis. Beethoven begins this sonata in C sharp minor, and the first 8 bars can be considered the introduction. He begins with a minor 1 chord and moves to a minor 1 chord again in measure 2, but in an inversion. And then he uses a Neapolitan 6 chord that he uses throughout the piece in measure 3. He has some reoccurring themes that he uses as well. And the first theme begins in pick up into measure 6. In measure 8, he uses a cadence modulation. And this is where Beethoven uses many of the authentic cadences that he uses in this piece. He quickly moves from C sharp minor to E major in measure 8, and then again he modulates to C major in measure 11. He's only in C major for one measure, so he uses a transient modulation to B minor by measure 12. In measures 22 and 23, Beethoven uses the authentic cadence, once again going 5-1. By measure 24, we begin the development section of the sonata. And we are back into C sharp minor in measure 20, measure 25. What becomes very interesting throughout this development section is that Beethoven continues the use of the triplet ostinato pattern, while in the left hand he maintains a 5 chord throughout this development section while using other chords in the right hand. In measure 30, he has a minor 1-6-4 chord. Again, he has that in measure 31. 32, he moves to a fully augmented 7-7 chord, and he continues to use those 2 chords quite a bit throughout this development section. When we get into measure 43, we begin to modulate into E major once again, and Beethoven uses the authentic cadence that he's used throughout this piece. Measure 43 can be considered the recapitulation of the sonata form, and this is where we move back to E major once again. In measure 47, we have the recapitulation, and we have the main theme playing again. In measure 48, we come back to C sharp minor, and we are in C sharp minor through the rest of the piece. Some of the reoccurring themes that happen here in this third page of the sonata is we have a ending of the recapitulation, the continuation of the triplet pattern, the triplet ostinato in the right hand, and we also have the optional coda added in as well. When we get down to 61, we are at that optional coda, and that begins to end the piece. Before that, in measure 59 and 60, we have once again that authentic cadence, that 5-1 cadence. The last 3 bars of the piece, we have a minor 1 chord that leads us finally to the end of Moonlight Sonata. I hope that this Roman numeral analysis of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata is both informative and helpful to the performer. Thank you.